My name is Max James, and as always, I am one half of the Two Ton Nerds, and today is week 2, day 1 of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project presented by the Two Ton Nerds. Since it's a new week, we got a new theme, and this week's theme is 7 Psychopaths. And the first psychopath I will be talking about is Abin Cooper from Kevin Smith's RedState. I have a lot to say about this movie, so I'm going to get right into watching it, and I'll be right back in a few seconds to do my video breakdown. So, I just got done watching Kevin Smith's RedState, and I have a lot to say, so I'm just going to get right into my video breakdown. First is the plot. Everything in this movie is centered around Abin Cooper and the 5 Point Trinity Church. There's 3 boys who try to get laid, and it ends up being an entrapment because the lady they try to have sex with is actually a member of the 5 Point Trinity Church. Then you got the town sheriff who gets blackmailed by the 5 Point Trinity Church member Abin Cooper. Then you got the ATF agents who try to subdue Abin Cooper and the 5 Point Trinity Church. 2 is the location. The location of the movie is basically the church itself. You got the basement, the main hall where they do the sermon and the sacrifice. Then you got the upstairs where mainly where all the little kids go for their little Sunday school. Then you got the compound itself outside. You got the horse stable. You got the churchyard itself where a good portion of the gunfight takes place. Then you got the characters. The characters in the movie are great. You got the 5 Point Trinity Church is led by Michael Parks, Melissa Leo, Ralph Garman, James Parks, and Jennifer Swalbach, who is Kevin Smith's wife. Then you got the 3 boys who I cannot remember their names for the life of me, but I know you've seen them in movies. 2 of them are from Sky High. One is Will Stronghold, and the other one is who will be, I think, be starring in Hit Somebody. I do believe that's the one I'm thinking of. He's the one who can glow in the dark. And the other boy is, I can't think of his name either. I think his name is Kyle. He's also in what's the movie? Jennifer's Body and Nightmare on Elm Street, the new one. Then you got the ATF agents led by John Goodman, and there has Kevin Pollak, and if you've ever seen True Blood, Lafayette's boyfriend. And that's kind of like, all the characters in the movie are great. This movie would fall apart if it wasn't for these characters doing their own little special thing, and which the acting in this movie is great. I really was surprised when Michael Parks didn't get the Oscar nomination for his role. I was so hoping he would get it. I really did. Sorry, I burped again. Number 4 is special effects. The special effects in this movie are kind of your run-of-the-mill gunfire wounds, like gunshots to the chest, to the face, that kind of stuff. But that's about it for special effects. This movie wasn't really special effects heavy. It was mostly on the tone of the movie. That's kind of what this movie is more about. Number 5 is the deaths. The deaths in this movie is once again your run-of-the-mill gunfire deaths to the shot of the face, chest, stuff like that. But there's one that stands above the rest, is the gay guy who gets sacrificed on the cross in the main hall where they do the sermon. That scene's pretty brutal because it's when they reveal the guy, he's shrine wrapped and has a ball gag in his mouth, and the way they kill him is they basically just take a little revolver and they just put it straight down on top of his head and they shoot into his body. And they just quickly wrap his head and they just dump him in a hole. And that's built into the floor of the church. And it's very brutal. It's more brutal than I'm actually making it sound out to be because of the way that it's filmed and stuff like that. So, the 6th and final thing is the ending. The ending is, if you know your Revelations, then you'll know exactly where the trumpet blasts are coming from. But there's one line in particular that is given at the end of the movie that is my favorite of all time. One of my favorites all time in this, because this is the one I kind of remember the most. It's delivered by John Goodman. He's telling a story about how his dogs kind of start going at it because they've known each other since they've been from the beginning of the litter, and they kind of start like growling at each other because he threw a little chicken bone to him, and he kind of delivers this lines like, people do the strangest things because they believe they're entitled, but they do even stranger things when they just plain believe. I love that line. I really do love that line. I watched this movie with my mom, and she like even loved that line. So tells you kind of like that line actually kind of has some merit in the. Overall, I highly recommend this movie to almost anyone who kind of has an open mind about the Fred Phelps kind of thing. So. I actually got the privilege to see this movie when he brought it on tour during the RedState USA tour, which is kind of my hands down favorite movie-going experience of all time, because I got to see a Q&A and the movie itself, because it's Kevin Smith, one of my favorite directors of all time. That's all I can say about this movie without going any further and spoiling it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. This movie doesn't even look like a Kevin Smith movie. If you go back and look at Clerks through Zack and Miri Make a Porno, this movie doesn't even like come close to any of them, because the camera moves quite a bit in this movie compared to his other movies. So that's all I can say about this movie, once again, without spoiling it, without ruining it for anybody. So I'm just going to end it there. My name is Max James, and as always, I am one half the 2 Ton Nerds, and I'm going to go geek out.